So let's talk about industrial engineering. And as the name implies, we're going to apply engineering to the industry. What do you think with the concept industry or about it? Well, maybe it comes to your mind, these guys in a manufacturing line, assembly line. Well, yeah, that is industrial engineering. The guy that invented this model was Ford. Henry Ford was very creative and said, well, the more I buy, the cheaper I get it. And the more people I get in assembly line, the more I get to get a cheaper car. So Ford make it available for us to get this cheap car. Now guys, industrial engineering is plenty of what is the industry and what does an engineer do. So probably you're going to have a class that it's called Introduction to Chemical Engineering, or what a chemical engineer does. So for the first place I wanted to tell you, is that this presentation should be in your class because I show you what do we study. First off, you will want to know what do you need to study in order to convert into a chemical engineer. Then the most obvious question will be, what does a chemical engineer do, works, where? So then first you study, then you work. So probably you will be then wondering what's engineering, about engineering, where we can study, what courses, what projects, what other things, extracurricular things can you do to increase your, let's say, curricular value. And eventually, we go to the future of chemical engineering. And, well, I personally hate it when people think about chemical engineering as a very old-fashioned or very non-useful engineering. They think we are chemists playing in the lab with stuff A that reacts with stuff B, and we have precipitate and we are happy. But no, guys, we actually have a lot of future. I would say chemical engineering is one of the top priorities in the world. Because let me show you. You probably know that the world moves with energy. Where does that energy comes from? Comes from petroleum, mainly, about I think 80%. And what is petroleum is nothing more than chemistry, chemicals, petrochemicals to be exact. You need to know a little bit of organic chemistry. You need to know a little bit on pipe chemistry in order to take it out. You need to know about distillation to make interesting products. So for instance, diesel, gasoline, natural gas. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, because that's what moves the world. Gasoline moves cars. Diesel moves trucks, natural gas hits our homes, jet fuel moves airplanes. So just to let you know, if you're thinking about airplane, maybe you think, yeah, airplanes are so cool and it's the future and aircrafts and so on. Well, yeah, they use fuels. Where do fuels come from? Oil. Where do oil come from? Yeah, distillation. Who's in charge of distillation? Yeah, chemical engineer. So yeah, maybe we are very classical, but we will be always needed. He's like a doctor. We don't like to think about doctors until we are sick, and we go to the doctor, and then we think about the doctor. Now, I also hate it when they think, this was a very silly example, but they then tell me, yeah, but distillation is boring. And they tell you, yeah, it is. It's a very known science, and we cannot improve that much. But guys, we're not just into distillation, we are into materials. What type of materials? Well, for instance, clothing. And then I get this face of, come on, clothing is boring, it's nothing to do with chemistry. And I tell you, no guys, clothing is science. There's plenty of clothing engineering behind. The colors we use, the much you sweat, the technology for maybe, I don't know, soccer players, football players, all those textiles. Even your car has clothing in the seat, back seat, and so on. Also, talking about cars, we have plenty of polymers inside the cars. We have a lot of, maybe, I don't know, a new plastic that will help the car in an accident not to crash like a metal. It will help you and make you safer. Also, fine chemistry. So let's talk about medicines. You think aspirin is a medicine? Well, yeah, actually it's amazing, but it comes from chemistry that one chemical engineer is building in a batch and is making research. So I do think it's important, and I do think that as a chemical engineer I have the obligation to show the world the importance of chemical engineering. Maybe I should do a video of what's a chemical engineer for non-chemical engineers. Now, manufacturing is a very important part of the industrial life. Manufacturing is essentially build stuff in a very massive way. To create manual, I think, comes from hand, manual stuff. Factoring means about creating stuff, so doing stuff with your hands. Well, of course, eventually manufacturing come up with these robots, kind of robots. Anyways, we have this Six Sigma concept, which is a very interesting concept, which means getting into perfection. We have this lean manufacturing, which is also very important. Lean manufacturing talks about how to strip down all those things that are liabilities and increase our, let's say, important things. So, for instance, if we had two hands right here and one hand is not needed, well, why do you have it there? Take it away, sell it. You only need one. Also, reducing time of cycle. Maybe it takes, and maybe the engineer will tell me, yeah, because if we only have one hand, we will take 5 minutes, but with two hands, we took 2 minutes. So then I will say, oh, okay, don't take it away, leave it. It makes sense, especially because we are decreasing time. Eventually, what you want to do is to decrease the resources, such as time, money, utilities, raw materials, and what you want to decrease is quantity of products, quality of products, income, and eventually utilities or profits. Let's say profit. That's what we are all interested in. Now, guys, a very important part right here: business, marketing, and accounting classes. So I took plenty of courses on that, not because I wanted to, because it was a requirement to take some business classes, some marketing and accounting. Marketing, I hated. I didn't even know why I needed marketing. But then at half the course, I was like, yeah, I'm liking it. And at the end of the course, I was very happy that I took this marketing because it opened my mind. Also for accounting, I was like, dude, seriously, I don't want to be an accountant. But then I saw the importance of accounting, and then I understand that it was essentially financing of a little industry or company, of course. But this is about how to get more money, understand where money goes and which thing makes more money. And business, yeah, eventually I was very scared because I was into working all my life in a company. And I was like, dude, I don't need business. Why do I need to take a business class? And then I realized that I was completely out of my mind. So those business classes were the best classes I could ever took. Because it talks about more on not only creating a business. You don't need to be an entrepreneur or you don't need to go open a new business. It talks about on how to work in a business. So you will understand much more when people get fired in human resources, because you understand business, you understand that you need to decrease plenty of this and increase input, output. So business gives you a lot of insight on not only how stuff is done, but how people think about it. So anyways, this will help you to get, maybe you have a product. Once again, it could be you doing a small craft beer. You do it because you're a chemical engineer, you know how to do it, all the technical stuff, you know it, but you have a problem. You produce, let's say, 100 liters, which are about 300 bottles, and you don't know how to sell them. You just sold them maybe to 20 of your best friends, and you are left with plenty of beers, and you don't know how to take them out. Well, here's where market research, market technique, and all the marketing fundamentals will help you to sell those beers. So one thing is doing that, which is already a good job. You can build beer, you can create craft beer. But the other thing is, how do I distribute them? How do I sell them? How do I make more people interested in the product? And eventually you need to talk about money again. You're going to sell, or maybe you tell me, well, I can give them away. Yes, but it means that you lost a lot of money. And eventually you want to create craft beer, and maybe why not get some income from those beer, make some profit. So you need to know how much does producing a beer cost, fixed cost, maybe you just bought a reactor or something like that, and why not maybe also operation cost, and so on. Eventually you will get to know all that marketing, finances, business are all connected. And I don't know you guys, but lately I've heard a lot of entrepreneurship, many in the USA, many in my home country, in Europe as well, and some in Japan. I don't know about other countries, but I hear a lot of entrepreneurship. Go and build your own business. Go and find out what is your passion and things. And I think it's very important because eventually, if you want to build a business, it's very important to understand the basics behind those, let's say, actions. You need to know how to do a market research, how to do a balance sheet for financing, how to understand your market, what do they want, the product, the place, the distribution, and all that things, you will see them in these courses. So you asking me, you're not that into this business or marketing, accounting stuff? Well, think again. Because maybe in the future you will be very glad you took those classes. And if you ask me personally, you haven't made your decision, you have option 1 and option 2, and this is very, let's say, technical, and it has very good grade, maybe 100% for distillation and 100% for plant design. And maybe here is more about, half tech, half administration, or even business. Maybe it's not that good, it's 80% in plant design, it's 80% on distillation, but it has very good grades on business. Well, I think business is also good because one thing is being able to produce or to design a plant, and another thing is to actually sell that plant, maybe, or sell a distillate, maybe, let's say, vodka. So I will think again twice. Probably I will go to that has a lot of tech, but has also a lot of business inside.